Hi, my name is Aayog, and in this video I'll be talking about the Finance Commission of India, the what, how and why of Finance Commission of India. As you all know, the Federal Ensemble of India, it comprises a union government, 28 states. Out of these 28 states, there are 10 special category states or the hilly and northeastern states. These states have considerable international borders and very difficult geographical terrain. They get special fiscal dispensations from the union government and the finance commissions. Then there are other states, what we call them a general category states. They collect of their own revenues and get some money from the intergovernmental fiscal transfer systems. And at the third tier, we have panchayats. These panchayats are at three rungs: the district panchayat, block panchayat and the gram panchayats. How many panchayats? 250,000 panchayats in this country. About 3.2 million elected representatives. So we do have so many elections. There is one election for union government, another election for state government, and the third election for panchayats and municipalities. In the rural areas, we have panchayats, and in the urban areas, we have municipalities. These municipalities are at three levels. In big cities, we have municipal corporations. In not so big cities, we have municipalities, and in the transitional area, just from the rural to urban, we do have nagar panchayats. The definition of municipal corporation, municipalities and nagar panchayats, they are not there in the constitutions. These are there in the state acts. Constitutions, the 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act, through which the panchayat and municipality crept into the books of statutes in 1993, that was a central act, and each state had to enact a conformity acts. So these municipal corporation and municipalities have been defined in the conformity acts. Typically, the population and the area, they generally decides what could be the municipal corporation, municipal council and nagar panchayats. Like in most federations, union government in India, it collects more and more buoyant source of revenues. The power to collect custom duty is in the hands of the union government. The power to collect personal income tax and corporate income tax, it's there with the union government. Central Goods and Services Tax or the CGST is there with the union government. State government collect state GST and state excise duty. As per one estimates, union government collects about 65% of the revenue, state government collects about 35% of the total revenue of the whole country. So far as responsibilities are concerned, union government is responsible about 35% of the total responsibilities, state government about 65%. It's the different stories, how much responsibility they assign to the local governments. So there is a mismatch of what we call it a vertical imbalance is about 35% or so. So the 35% of the revenue that need to be transferred to the states. Now, who will decide how much is to be transferred to the states, that is vertically, and which state should get what? For that purpose, Article 280 of the Constitutions, it says very clearly that every 5th year there will be a finance commissions, and this finance commission will decide how much of the union taxes has to be transferred to the states. Finance commissions in India has been created through Article 280 of the Constitutions and Article 281 of the Constitutions. It says that every recommendations of the Finance Commissions along with the explanatory memoranda has to be placed in both houses of Parliament, which means Finance Commission is a statutory body, but their recommendations are not. Their recommendations are to be placed in the Parliament, and the Parliament will decide how much of them they have to accept it. Traditionally, all major recommendations of the Finance Commissions have been accepted there in the Parliament. So what are the terms of reference of Finance Commissions? Finance Commission decide how much of the union tax divisible pool, what percentage has to go to the states. Previously, that is before 2000, only two taxes that were shared with the states, that was the personal income tax and central excise duty. The 10th Finance Commission, headed by K.C. Pant, they thought and they studied that the union government was collecting more and more custom duty and corporate income tax, because these two taxes were not shared with the states. So they decided that let's all the taxes be pooled together. It forms a divisible pool, and an X percentage of that has to be transferred to the states. So they recommended a constitutional amendment. Through the 80th amendment to the constitutions, all the taxes are now shared with the states. That's a different story. The 10th Finance Commission said is only the gross revenue need to be shared with the states, but the government of India through Parliament, they decided only the net revenue has to be shared with the states. The difference between the gross and the net is the collection charges, and cess and surcharges also kept outside the divisible pool. As you can see today, the government of India rely more and more on cess and surcharges. There were another institution in the past, what we call it a planning commissions. Someone asked a question, what was the difference between the planning commission and finance commissions? To me, if you ask, finance commission used to decide the non-plan revenue transfer to the states, whereas the planning commission used to decide the plan transfer to the states. Now, the difference between the non-plan and plan has been blurred, it has gone. Planning commission has been dismantled in 2015, and in place of planning commissions, NITI Aayog is there in place. Planning commission used to be a secretariat of the National Development Council, which was headed by prime ministers or chief ministers for members. Now this has been replaced with Team India, which is again headed by prime ministers. All of the chief ministers are their members. Finance Commission, first, how much of the union taxes need to be transferred to the states? That's one. Another most important things for the Finance Commission is the which state should get what. That is what we call it a correcting horizontal imbalances. All states are not the same. The population of Uttar Pradesh is about 300 times than that of Sikkim. The per capita income of Goa is about 9 times than that of Bihar or Jharkhand. So your horizontal imbalances cannot really identify only one factor. They need to identify several factors. For horizontal imbalances, they need to identify income, area, populations, infrastructure deficiencies, various other factors. So Finance Commissions has to keep a very, very good blend of efficiency and equity. Most transfers that the Finance Commission decides have equity considerations, but there are efficiency considerations as well, because many of the rich states, they have been asking that you are patting on the back of squandermania. So Finance Commission also decides whether the states are following the Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act and they have been collecting their own revenues or not. So, largely Finance Commission transfer to the states depends upon equity, but there are some efficiency considerations as well.